It was another sad weekend for hip hop heads, as yesterday we had learned of the passing of two 90s rap veterans and legends, Team One of the Artifacts and Hurricane G. Both died of health related issues. Fortunately, their deaths were not the result of gun violence like Takeoff from the previous weekend, but it's still sad to see these golden era MCs passing on in their early 50s. But I just want to highlight a little bit about each, starting with Tame One. He was a co-founding member of the Artifacts, hailing from Brick City, Newark, New Jersey, also known as New Jerusalem. Tame One was also a cousin to Redman. Now, the thing about Tame One was that he always kept the graffiti tradition alive in his music. And you could say that the Artifacts as a duo really embodied the elements of hip hop, especially MCing, b-boying, and graffiti art. The Artifacts' first album, Between a Rock and a Hard Place, dropped in 1994, and it was always looked at as an East Coast classic and a must-have 90s hip-hop album. Their classic single, Wrong Side of the Tracks, was basically a graffiti and b-boy anthem that just really captured the essence of the East Coast scene back in the mid 90s. It was truly a flawless track. Tame One always had a distinct voice and flow and could go into different pockets effortlessly. The Artifacts would release That's Them in 1997. It was a slept on release for 97 that had been delayed a few times, and I always wish that it would have gotten more love, but if you knew, you knew. Altogether, the group didn't really achieve much mainstream success, but they were always respected as dope MCs. They did disband in the late 90s, each going their separate ways. Elder Sensei would do his own thing, while Tame One would go the independent route, linking with backpacker MCs like Cage. Tame One and Cage would drop a collaborative album under the moniker The Leak Brothers. I recall the album being dope and very trippy, psychedelic, but I also recall having slight concerns about their mental health and safety, as there was a lot of talk about dust on that album. I did end up falling off with what Tame One had been doing on the solo tip since the Leak Brothers album, but I always knew that he was still nice. Now, actually, the Artifacts would reunite, and they had released the No Expiration Date album, produced entirely by Buck Wild. So it had all come back full circle, as Buck Wild produced a lot on their debut album. And No Expiration Date had just dropped in August of this year, but it was finally uploaded to all streaming services this past weekend. So go ahead and run that up. Now, getting to Hurricane G, Hurricane Gloria. She was a Def Squad affiliate, Brooklyn representative, and one of the early female Puerto Rican rappers. She had a unique voice, unorthodox style, as well as a lot of energy. You could even say there are traces of Hurricane G in Cardi B's voice. Hope I'm not jumping out the window with that comparison. Now, as a Def Squad affiliate, Hurricane G worked alongside Redman and Eric Sermon, even having a child with Eric Sermon. And most people's introduction to Hurricane G came by the way of her intro words on Redman's classic Tonight's the Night track with, "Yo, yo, Redman, what the fuck, man? Get off that punk smooth shit. Get with the rough shit." She also dropped a dope and rugged verse on Redman's We Run New York from his Dare is a Dark Side album. I also really liked Hurricane G's feature on Coco Brothers' Spanish Harlem track, and she brought that raw Boricua flavor to the Tony Touch production. In addition, she would do freestyles on Tony Touch's mixtapes in the mid to late 90s. She did drop her solo album in 1997, produced entirely by Domingo, entitled All Woman, which is on streaming services, so be sure to give that a spin if you haven't. Yeah, RIP to two important East Coast artists. It's your boy Mixtape Moth. I'm signing out, but please make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. As always, it's peace and blessings. RIP Hurricane G, Team 1.